Does anyone know what the world's oldest profession is? Well, some of you already know that it's considered to be prostitution. I've researched a lot considering the legalization of prostitution and thought of the benefits and the drawbacks for the people involved in it, as well as the countries where it takes place. Prostitution is a dangerous job that has implications for the people involved, and they're all valid concerns like health, STDs, illegitimate children, adultery, and even possibly a police record. With that, and that's without it being legalized. With it being that dangerous occupation, neither party is legally protected. So before you make your decisions on why or why not prostitution should be legalized, you need to understand both sides. And today I'll go ahead and explain why people believe that it should not be legal, and then I'll go ahead and explain why people believe that it should become legalized. The first main reason people believe prostitution should stay illegal is that it allows for the prostitute to be used as a product. In the June 16, 2011 publication of the Herald Spectator, Elizabeth Smith wrote, quote, prostitutes are human beings and they deserve all the rights and liberties the rest of us enjoy, but should the business of prostitution be legalized, end quote. And why people believe that prostitutes, with it being legalized, would allow them to use them like a product is because they would have, unlike a real employee, they'd be being used by the client and allow for legal abuse, which in turn leads me to my second main point, is why people believe that prostitution should stay illegal, is that it allows for legal abuse towards the prostitute. According to Donna Hughes on uri.edu in February 1999, quote, in effect, regulation means certain conditions it is permissible to exploit and abuse women, end quote. And with the legalization of prostitution, they believe that it would allow for the client to abuse the prostitute and legally get away with it. And my third main reason why people believe that prostitution should stay illegal is that it would increase human sex trafficking. According to Amanda Kohler on Change.org, on May 25, 2010, Germany legalized prostitution in efforts to reduce human sex trafficking and instead saw a 70% increase on human sex trafficking. And people believe that this increase would happen anywhere that the legalization of prostitution happens, because it would allow for the person buying and selling people for the into human slavery, which it would allow them to get away with it legally. Now that we've discussed why people believe that it should stay illegal, we're going to go ahead and discuss why people believe that it should become legalized. The first main reason why people believe that it should become legal is that it will allow for protection of the client and the prostitute. In the March 1st, 2010 publication of the Contemporary Justice Review, Rebecca Hayes Smith and Zahara Shiakara said legalization will allow people involved in prostitution to report a crime without fear of repercussion. And as it stands, where it is illegal, that the person involved in prostitution has a fear of reporting a crime that has happened against them, because they in fact would get arrested for committing a crime themselves. And that leads me into my second main reason why people believe that prostitution should be legalized, is that it would allow for the areas concerning prostitution to be cleaned up concerning crime. In the September/October 2003, Heidi Fleiss told Nadia Lobby from Legal Affairs, quote, prostitution was always technically legal in Australia, and since 1986, the state of Victoria, where Melbourne is, has become even more forward-thinking. Prostitutes can work in brothels, as long as they're not working in residential areas and the town says it's okay. And the law takes the pimps and the underworld out of the business. It prevents anyone convicted of a crime in the last 5 years from owning or managing a brothel, end quote. And this would, the reason why they believe it would clean up crime is because it takes the people that committed those similar types of crimes out of running the or managing a brothel. And the third and final reason why people believe that prostitution should become legalized is that the government that legalizes it could gain from it. In the September/October 2003, Heidi Fleiss told Nadia Lobby from Legal Affairs, quote, "There is no downside to legalizing prostitution. The government would benefit by collecting taxes on the industry," end quote. And with our government and how our country's funds are going at this point in time, it would allow for them to collect taxes on that industry. And now that we've discussed why people believe it should not become legal, and as well as why we've talked about why people believe that it should become legalized, going from the protection and government gain of why people believe that it should be legalized to the protection of the prostitute's body of why it should stay illegal. I'm going to go ahead and leave you with this quote. As Barbara Hobson said on March 1990 in Uneasy Virtue, quote, "Prostitution will always lead into a moral quagmire in a democratic societies with capitalistic economies. It invades the terrain of intimate sexual relations, yet beckons for regulation. A society's response to prostitution goes to the core of how it chooses between the rights of some persons and the protection of others," end quote. Okay, that's my group.